Welcome back for the second session of the second day. Here, now Ms. Pooja Vasudev will give a talk on LMS using campus technology. I request Mrs. Srividya ma'am to introduce the speaker.
Good afternoon, one and all. Myself, Srividya, Assistant Professor, Computer Science Department, RCSD. It's my pleasure to introduce Pooja Vasudev, Vice President, Business Development and Operational Manager, Campus Technology, Bengaluru. She did her BE in Computer Science at KIT. She is a well-experienced business development strategist with a demonstrated history of working in IT industry. She is very much skilled in market planning, operation management, business development, customer relationship management, and strategy execution. She is an expert in delivering presentations, conducting seminars, and participating in meetings with clients. She is also working as a quality analyst in Pathshala. Now, I will hand over the session to Pooja ma'am. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Pooja Vasudev. I also have with me Kavya Narayan, who will be helping me through the process of explaining what LMS and e-learning is. So we are from a company called Campus Technology. We are a portfolio company of Times Internet. So we are working with several colleges in India for accreditation management and campus management. And today I will be talking specifically about LMS, that is the Learning Management System, and e-learning softwares. So we have several colleges, like I mentioned, who are using our campus management software, which includes LMS and e-learning. So first thing first, I want to talk about the difference between what LMS is and what e-learning is. So e-learning basically refers to all your PPTs, your materials that you're creating, digital materials that you're creating, which will aid your teaching and learning process. LMS is a platform, learning management system. This is a platform which will aid, probably when you're uploading a material somewhere, that would be your LMS. All your digital materials, the platform that you upload to, where the students have access to all this material, that would be the LMS. That is called the learning management system. So today I will be showing you the demo of our learning management system that we have, and we will show you a few examples. I'm also going to talk about the different kind of reports that each college, or basically each kind of stakeholder can get. So it could be the principal, it could be the IQAC coordinator, the HODs, the deans. So every one of them have different kinds of report that they can generate using our software. We also have dedicated faculty apps and student apps. So this is a real-time app that is available. We have, it is available both in Android and iOS phones. You can download it. Kavya will be showing you the first-hand demo of how things look when a student logs in or when a faculty logs in. So we will be going through each of these modules one by one. So let me start by sharing my screen and showing you how our software actually looks. Yes. So this is how the the login screen looks. So once you have your dedicated user ID password given to you, you type in your user ID, you type in your password, and you type in the CAPTCHA. So you just add the numbers and give the answer and click on sign in. You click on continue, and we have multiple options here. So you go to quick access. So when you go to quick access, this is a dashboard. I have logged in as an admin faculty, basically a faculty who is also an admin. So this is the dashboard that they will see. Now we have a feature called role-based access. So what is role-based access? Like I mentioned, each group of people, like the HODs, the deans, the principal, the IQAC coordinators, the dashboards that each of them will see is quite different. A faculty might not see the dashboard that you're seeing as an admin, and a student will be seeing a different dashboard. A principal or someone from the management will be seeing a different dashboard. We also have a feature called multi-campus. It is a multi-campus software wherein, let us assume that you are a college and you have multiple campuses. Now someone from management, they would want to know or probably get a bird view of what is happening in each of the campuses. For them, you can choose the different campus that you want to see, or the dashboard that you want to see for different campuses. Based on what campus you're selecting, you will be able to see different kinds of reports. So I'll also be showing how the multi-campus reports work. Now, for a faculty, when you log in, like I said, I'll be talking about LMS. Under LMS, when it comes to teaching and learning, we have several features that are available. One among it, the most important, I mean, given the situation of pandemic and the lockdown situation, online classes have become quite the trend. I mean, of course, there were many colleges who were conducting rather not conducting online classes, but rather using PPTs or other digitized materials. But given the situation, I think everyone have or most of the institutions and universities have resorted to conducting online classes itself. So not just uploading materials where students get access to it, but actually conducting the classes live. So we have a feature where you can conduct these live classes and students will be able to attend the live class. So for that, in the left hand side, we have an option. It's called online class. We have under that, we have a create class option. If you click on create class, we have some demo data available here. So this is basically the programs, whatever you're offering in your college will appear as the drop down. So we'll select one program and we will also select a subject here. For now, I'm selecting entomology. Now, for this, let me create a class. You can see here a class already exists, but let me also show you how you can create a new class. You just click on new and write the topic name. Demo entomology, and the start date, it's a calendar. You can just select the start date and you can select a time. I have just selected a time. You can increase, decrease the time here. Yes. And then you just click on OK. And then description of the topic. So this description, the students will also be seeing. Let me write a description. Okay. And then click on enabled. What is this enabled? So you can have all the data entered, but unless you click the enable button, this class is not visible for the students. So probably 5 minutes or 4 minutes before the class, whenever you want it, you can come here and you can click on enable. Only after that it is available for the students. So basically when a student uses his or her dedicated app to log in, they will only see the class after you have selected, enabled and updated the class. Now the mode, let me make it, so we have several modes here. We have live class, we have MOOC, we have internal. So if you see this, let me choose for now MOOC and update. So the class is updated. It's, as you see here, I have selected the enable button. So this means as a student, they will be able to see the class. So there are other options here. You can also add videos. You can also add files. So basically for demo entomology or introduction to entomology, let me add a video. So introduction to entomology, let me see. I'm going to click on add video. And you see here, I have added, so let me click on this YouTube icon and I can add a video. So let me just go to youtube.com and entomology videos. Okay, so I think I have some video here about entomology. So I am just going to select this link, whichever video link you think is applicable. So basically, if all the faculties have created some videos that is for this particular topic, it can be uploaded in YouTube. Okay, why YouTube? So whenever we are using an LMS platform, if the students have to access this video at any point of time, it has to be continuously streamed in some software. And as of now, the only streaming software that is really good and it is free for streaming is YouTube. That is why we are uploading the videos in YouTube. So you can just upload your videos on YouTube and paste the link. You can see once you paste the link, you should be able to see a preview. If you don't see a preview, that means that your video is, so right now I have deleted a few letters from the link. So you see the video preview is not available. The video preview is only available if the entire link is pasted. Click on OK. Now you see that the video will be embedded here. Just click on add link. So basically the video is added. So this is done. So your video will be added. Now let me go back to online class and create class. I am selecting the program. I am selecting my course, and I will see that a videos will be added for that particular class. I can also add files. Let me also add a file. You can just click on upload document. You can choose a file. We support docx. We support PDF. Let me upload doc file, or rather I am uploading a PDF. Yes, let me upload a PDF file. So this is uploaded. I will click on upload file. So this means that your files are also uploaded for that particular. You will also get a message. You see here, file saved successfully, and your file will be automatically updated to your class. So let me ask Kavya to share her screen. Let us see how it looks when a student logs in, how they can actually see the class. Kavya, can you share your screen?
Yes, Pooja, yes.
So like I said, we have a dedicated students app. And when a student logs in, the minute as a faculty, when you enable a class, it is real time. The students don't have to wait. It is real time. Immediately classes are available. So, okay, Kavya, yes, please continue.
Right. So first we will log into Posto Mukhi Pathshala app, student app. In the screen, you will enter the student ID and the password that is given to them by their institution and click on login. The next screen is to log in with your Open Learning ID. So click on proceed to login. Give the ID created and the password, click on sign in. So you enter the dashboard. So now you have to click on the Inst class. So select the course. So it is
Yes. So all the courses that have been uploaded by the faculties will be available here. So all these classes are live for them. They can select any class they want, and they'll be directly directed to the dashboard where they can attend the class. You can click on some class, Kavya. Yes.
yes.
So like this, the students will be able to join the class as and when the fellow students join, it will start increasing the numbers. And then when a faculty is sharing some file or video, like I said, that will also be available for the students. Now, so this is how it will look for the student. Now, Kavya, can you also show MOOC courses?
Yes.
Introduction to entomology, or I think it's there. Yes, so you see the video that I have uploaded, it is available here, and they can play the video. Kavya, can you play it also? Yes, so they will see the video here, and of course, I mean, they can finish the video, they can go through the video. We also have a new option here called course forum. Now, we have an option. This course forum is where a faculty and the students who are attending this particular class can chat. So if you see below, there are some chats available. Kavya, can you just close the keyboard? I think yes. You see the faculty, whatever the faculty is telling and whatever the student is telling, you can see the chat here. So let me also show you the course chat. Kavya, can you stop sharing? I will show it from the faculty.
Yes, Pooja.
So here, as a faculty, when you have logged in, here I have an option called course chat. When I click on course chat, I have to select the topic. Here I am choosing introduction to entomology, and all the chats that have been going on. It is a forum, so it is not one-to-one. It is one-to-many. That means as a faculty, I can talk to many students. Any student that who's attending this particular class, which is introduction to entomology, I will be able to chat with them. So let me. I am typing a message. So I can type this message. I can just click on insert. You see all the most recent message will come on top. So how did you like the class, students? Now, when Kavya logs in as a student and goes to post forum, she'll be able to see this chat. Yes, Kavya, over to you. You can log in as a student and show.
Right, Pooja.
So again, same thing. She will log in and she will see.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you like the class, students? So this is instantaneous.
Real-time update it is, so the student will be able to see exactly the same thing.
Yes. So whatever messages as a student, they are sending, that is also instantaneous. Kavya, can you reply to this message?
Yes. Yeah, I've sent a message. It was great.
Okay. Now, when I log in as a faculty, I will be able to see this message. So I'm just going to refresh my chats. So all the message that I've she just messaged telling it was great. I am able to see that message. So this is real-time messaging, one-to-many. Any student in this particular class, if they are messaging something, faculty will be able to see it. So this way you can also have a Q&A session about the video or about the class that you've just had. Now, the other option, I think when Kavya just joined, so, she was able to join as a student. And like I said, as and when the fellow students join, they will be able to join the class. Now, as a faculty, what you have to do is just click on start class. So Introduction to Entomology, you see there is an option here, start class. The minute you click on start class, it will directly take you to the screen where, the system will ask you for joining the meeting. You click on join meeting, and then it will ask you a permission for your, camera and microphone. You just give the permission and you will be able to join the class. So any student who is joining, you will be able to see all the students who have joined here. So the participation list will be there, and then you can start seeing the students also. So that's how, as a faculty, you can join the class, or rather start a class. So that's about online class. Now, let me also talk about the different kinds of reports that are available here. So here, if you see, Kavya, I'm just confirming, you can see my screen, right?
Right. Yes. I can see your screen, Pooja.
Yeah. All right. So here, like I said, there are several reports available for online classes. There is something called participation report. This participation report, what it does is, as a principal or an admin, you will get access to all the videos that are being uploaded by all the faculties. Here, if you see, you can see only one faculty. That is because that is a demo ID. So as and when every faculty adds their data, you will get this as a dashboard. Not only what the faculty is uploading, you will also see the student interaction. So you see, as several students we have interacted, all the chats are also available here for the admin or the principal to look into. There is also something called summary report. Of course, this is a summary of all the videos that are being uploaded per faculty, per department. You see, for this faculty, it is 14 courses, or rather classes that have been taken. Like this, for every faculty, you will see the name with the number of courses. You will see department-wise how many courses are there as well. Now, the next option we have is course-wise attendance, topic-wise attendance. Again, when I say course-wise attendance, it's about every subject-wise, what is the attendance, how many students have participated. Topic-wise attendance is for the topic, how many students have participated. There is also something called course file report. Course file report refers to all the files or materials that have been uploaded for each class. You can see all the materials here with their link. If you open this link in any other, place, you'll be able to see the file. And then there is something called live class attendance. So live class. So if you have, chosen the option as live class, you will be able to see the attendance here. All the students who have attended the live class, you will be able to see here one by one with their name, registration number, and which faculty's class they have attended, which program they belong to. All this you will be able to see. That is about online class. Now, the second module that I am going to talk about is online assignment. Now, again, like I said, given the situation, the number of assignments that have been, that the faculties are giving online has increased exponentially. Now almost everyone are giving assignments online. Even the review and giving of marks for the assignments is also happening online. So for online assignment we have several options here. So create an assignment. Let me show you one by one. So create assignment. Here you can just click on new button, give the assignment name. I'm giving it as entomology assignment 1, and then click on enabled. Again, enabled here means that this particular assignment is available for the students. If it is not enabled, they will not be able to see this assignment. So every assignment that has been given by the faculty will appear for the students. So entomology assignment 1, I'm making it enabled. So I'm going to choose a date, today's date, and assignment details. Submit this assignment before tomorrow. So that's my detail. Then I am going to click on update. Now after I click on update, you see there is an option called upload document. So you can write what your assignment is in a Word document, and then you can just upload the same thing. So I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to choose assignment, and then I'm going to click on open. Now that whatever is written in the Word document is available for the students, I'm just clicking on upload file. Now this assignment is live and it is available for the student. Now I think Kavya will show how it looks for a student. Kavya, can you share your screen?
Yes.
So again, we are toggling between faculty, how they log in, and the student login, just to give you a first-hand, real-time experience about how fast the system is or how it looks for a student, which is again very important, because ultimately the end users, of course faculties, but also how it looks for the student. So that is why we are toggling between both the apps. Now when a student logs in, okay, Kavya, please continue. Yes.
Yes. So there's this module called as assignment. So you can click on it. So click on entomology. So when the student clicks on this link, the file will be downloaded. Yes, it will ask you to download. So if you just click on download, it gets downloaded. So you can see the document here. So write a short note on entomology is the question. So how the student will upload is, there is this option for the student to click on the take photo. Just click on this and yes, capture the photo. It gets saved. So you can click as, yes, you even get the alert message saying the image uploaded successfully. You can upload as many images as you want. So yes.
Once again, like I said, this is very real time. As and when the students are submitting their assignments, it real time is available for the faculties to check it. Let me share my screen. Yes. So as a faculty, when I go to online assignment, I can go to review assignment. Here, let me select the assignment from the drop down, entomology. Now I will be seeing all the assignments that has been submitted by different students. It will appear here one by one. We can just click on this link, and I think we'll be able to see whatever has been uploaded by the students. You see just now Kavya uploaded an image. That image is available here. So you can just zoom in, zoom out, and then you can select the, you correct the assignment. And we have also given an option where you can assign marks. So once you have reviewed the assignment, you can also assign marks. So what I generally suggest the faculties to do is open this assignment marks in a new tab. So as and when you're reading the assignment, you can as well, once the image or whatever assignments, images they have uploaded, once you see it, you can just go here, select the assignment and give the marks. So you see here, we have an edit button. you can give marks. So 5 marks, 10 marks, whatever is relevant, and then click on update. So marks are added. So once the marks are added for every student, you can have different reports where student wise, department wise, faculty wise, you can see the marks that have been allocated. So we also have an option where when you're calculating the internal assessment marks, we have seen many institutions where they have bifurcation. Basically, they have categorized their internal assessment marks into several categories, like 5 marks for assignment, maybe 2 marks for attendance, something for project, and the remaining will be for the actual attendance. So that way, when you're adding marks here, if you tell us what your rules are or what kind of bifurcation you're following, we will configure the same in the software, so that when your internal assessment marks is being calculated, it will take into account all these different categories that are there. So the system will do it by itself. Only thing is we have to basically configure the rules telling this much amount of marks should be given for this particular category. We also have situations where you actually conduct an internal assessment for 50 marks, but when you're calculating, it has to be converted to 25 marks. That also the system will do it by default. You don't have to worry. We just have to configure the rules. Once the rules are configured, the system will calculate this marks by itself. That's why I said it is very recent, and we have taken into consideration for the pandemic the several things or different situations that are going on. Taking that into consideration, we have made several changes to the software as well. So that's about online assignment. I also have something called online examination. So let me show you how you can create a online examination, how to set a question paper. Let me show you that. Here again, we have two options. One is there are two dashboards available to you. If you see, if I just clicked on go to the old app here, it will take you to a different dashboard. Here there is an option called vernacular examination. Here you can set a question paper, may let it be MCQ, be it descriptive. You can set the entire question paper, and you can assign it to different programs. Let me show it to you one by one. So we have an option here called create question bank. Now, why is it called a question bank? Because a question bank is a repository basically with all the questions that you might want to choose for several assessments. Let us say my question bank has 30 questions, but while I am setting a question paper, I want only 5 questions to be chosen from the question bank. Now the system will automatically choose 5 questions out of whatever 50 questions I have in my question bank. The system will choose 5 questions randomly. So I'm choosing the program, I'm choosing the subject and the batch, and I can create a question bank. If you see here, we have created question banks here. You can just click on new. You can give a question bank name. Again, enabled means that the question bank is active. You can click on update and the question bank gets added. You see here, we have added several question banks. You can have as many question banks as you want. Again, after creating a question bank, you can click on add questions new. Now for the question banks, we are adding the questions. Now, let us say, so you see, you can choose all the several question banks that you have, and you can add questions one by one. You can see we have already added some questions. So these are the questions we have added. Now your questions can also contain image. If you want an image to be added, now let me add a question as well. So so I have added a question and I'm giving a score. This will carry 5 marks, and I'm just clicking on update. Now, what do you mean by DNA? Now, if I want an image to be added for the question, I can just click on upload image. I can choose the question and I can just select any image that I want and I can upload it. That's it. Once I upload it, that image is added to the question. Now, after adding the questions, let us say you have 5 questions, out of which 2 are descriptive and 3 more are multiple choice. If it is a multiple choice question, you just click on MCQ options. You select the exam, you select the question, and you can select the option. You can add your options here. option 1, just click on the option 1, you give the score. Whatever is the correct answer will carry the score, 2 marks or 1 mark, whatever it is, just update it. And then you can, if it has multiple option, then you can give the options here. Option 2, score will be 0 because option 1 is my correct answer. So I'm uploading like this. Option 3 and option 4. You can start adding the options. You can choose the question one by one here. What is the capital of India? You see here Delhi and Kolkata. I can see Delhi is 1. That means that is the correct answer. So if whenever you're giving a score here for MCQ, that means the system will automatically calculate the marks for MCQ. All you have to do is only evaluate the descriptive part. So that's how you add the options for your questions. After that, once we have added the questions to the question bank, the next step would be to actually create an assessment. So let me go to create assessment. I'm going to click on new and I'm going to give the assessment name. So I think we've already created several assessments. You can just give a name, click on enabled and update, and it will be added. So you see here electronic circuits and special purpose devices. This is my, let us assume this is my question assessment. Now for this assessment, I am going to configure it. That means I have to choose the question bank for this particular assessment. Let me click on new. You can select, you can write, your question paper can have several sections. Let me write a section. Because you see here ABC is already added. That is why I'm choosing section D. For this section, I am choosing the question bank. All the question banks that you have created. So the beauty of this particular module is that you can choose questions to appear from several question banks. All the different question banks that you have created, it is coming here in the drop down. You can select any question bank that you want and you can choose number of questions you want from the question bank. If your question bank has 50 questions, you can choose say 5 questions randomly and system will pick it for you. You can also choose what it is, MCQ or descriptive. Give the instruction, answer all questions and click on update. Now all your sections are updated. So all the sections will comprise of your actual assessment. After this, let us say you have created an assessment. Now electronic circuits and special purpose devices, I have created an assessment. Now this assessment, I want to give it to multiple programs. Let us say, there is BSc Agriculture, BSc Physics, and then several other programs, where students of multiple programs have to take the same assessment. That way, once you have created an assessment, just choose the program from here and update it. That particular batch of students, okay, there is also an option called batch. You can choose the batch and that particular batch of students will be able to see this question paper. So that's about how you can create a question paper, add multiple sections to it, create a question bank, descriptive MCQ. Now Kavya will log in as a student and show you how for a student, what, how the question paper actually looks. Kavya, over to you.
Yes. So there is this option to take the exam. You just have to click on this and you will see the assessments, multiple assessments. So you can click on it and there is this option to go to questions and you can select any section. You will be able to see the instructions also given. So if it is an MCQ question, click on the MCQ section and yes, you can select the option. If you click on the questions, it is going to display you all the options. You can select the right option and once selected, you can just click on save and continue. The status will change from not submitted to submitted. So, and for the descriptive questions also, it goes the same. So yes, if the image is added, you can see the image also. And you have these options to upload the answer image, view the answer image, and you can just type the answer also. And you can take the photo also. So I'll just click on the take photo option. So you will be able to see it. And I will upload. I want to upload one more image. So I'll just click on the take photo option. Yes, once uploaded, you get the alert message saying upload success. So if you have to see what you have uploaded, you can just go to view answer image and check what you have uploaded. You see the images here. If you feel that the image is not right or something, you can just click on this image and then you get this alert saying delete or cancel. If you want to delete it, you can just click on delete, or if you want to cancel it, you can just click on cancel. And we even have the access to upload through your gallery. So if you click on this upload answer image, it will your gallery will be open and you can select the image from there and you can upload as well. And you even have the option to click on this type answer, and you can just click on you can type the lengthy answer as well. So I'll just write something and click on this upload answer, and if you go to this view answer, you will be able to see what you have uploaded. If you feel that you have to add something more to it or something, you can just click on this. You have the option to delete it, or you can edit the answer as well. You can write anything and then click on this upload answer. So if you go to view answer and see, it will be updated. So these are the options. And then yes, to make it, the initial status will be not submitted. To change it to submitted, you just have to click on save and continue. So it gets saved automatically. Yeah.
Online examination, we have also introduced a feature where if you want to proctor the students, so we have conducted several exams where, you know, the faculties have been proctoring the students. We have conducted end-term examination, degree awarding examination, where the online examination was conducted with live proctoring. So that option is also available where students, whatever they're answering will be proctored by the faculties sitting in college or wherever they are. And we also have, reports of the digital footprint. If a student is trying to access another site or whatever they're doing, we also have several reports that can monitor the activities of the students while taking the exam as well. That option is also there. So that's about conducting the online examination. As a faculty, once the students have submitted their answer scripts, so we have option here. So let me show you how a faculty can see the different options. If you see here, online examination, we have an option called evaluate paper. If you go to evaluate paper, you can select the assessment and you will be able to see all the answer scripts that have been submitted by the students. Now, why am I not seeing the name? Because it is up to the institution, because like I said, we have conducted several end-term examination where they wanted the name of the student to be anonymous. So that is why only ID, a unique ID has been generated. This is not the registration number. This is the ID that has been generated by the system. So basically the evaluator do not have any idea about whose answer script they are correcting. This is very helpful when you're conducting a final examination where you have different evaluators. So that way the name of the student remains anonymous. Now again, if it is an internal examination and you want to see the name of the student, we have that option also where you will be able to see the name of the student. If you see here, answer scripts, you will see the name of the student as well. Name, registration number, you can see. So here it is for internals and this dashboard is where it is for end-term examination. Now let me click on view answer script and I will see all the section wise, whatever it has been uploaded. I can select the question and I will click on load answer. I will see this is typed. This answer has been completely typed. That is why it is coming like this. And any image that has been uploaded will look like this. Now, if you see here, this image is actually not that great. It is rotated in a wrong way and it is not very legible. So I just click on that image and then it just takes to the editable mode where you can rotate an image. I can zoom in also. So now I'm able to see what's written. I also have pinch and zoom, like two fingers, you can pinch it, pinch out, or you can use the zoom in, zoom out option here. And you can see or rather evaluate the answer script and enter the marks here. And you can also give comments for each of this question. You can write the comment. And we have also given an option called essential and extra. That means, let us say you have a section where 5 questions are there and the students are asked to answer only 3 out of 5. Now what the student does, they have answered all 5. Instead of answering 3, they have answered all 5. That way you have to mark if it is an essential question or an extra question. That way the system knows that who's answered an extra question. So while when we are generating the reports, you will know that it is an extra question or is it an essential question. And you click on add marks. That's it. And if you click on populate MCQ marks, for the again, there is no data here. That is why I'm not able to populate any marks. So the MCQ part will be automatically, populated. You don't have to worry about MCQ because the score will be automatically calculated by the system. So we also have an option, if like I said, end term examination, it is possible that you have an external evaluator who will be checking the answer scripts. For them, we have a separate, link that is created. A user ID password is created. A link is given to them. So this particular link the access will expire after a set number of days. That can be decided by the institution or the university. So if you say that the link has to expire after 10 days, after 10 days, the external examiner will not be able to access that link. So when they use their link to log in, same, the answer scripts are there without any names. It is anonymous, like I mentioned. And they'll be able to see the answer script. They can evaluate the answer scripts. And all the evaluated scores, they can see it here. We have an option called student score. So whatever they have marked, it is possible that they're correcting several papers. That means it will appear here one by one, the assessment names. Once they select the assessment, they can see the scores they have given. For every question, each section, they will see the score. And you see here extra. This means that these two questions are extra. If they have marked the question as essential, then that will also show here. So then there is also, this is student score. This is per student. Now there is something called total score. Total score is where for an assessment, you will see the total score exam and the total score. Now, I don't have any data. That is why the score is not displaying. But once they have evaluated the entire thing, the total score shows here. So that's about it. And there is also something called evaluation status, evaluation summary. So evaluation status, basically, this is for the institution or the principal or the admin who's monitoring. So they can see for each assessment for all the students, what is the score that has been given. So this will collate all the marks given by all the evaluators, be it internal evaluator, be it external evaluator. So all the scores are collated and they will see the score as well as the comments. You see the comments also, and you will see evaluated by. If there are several faculties, like I said, internal, external, by faculty, you will be able to see who's evaluated what. Now we have a feature here. Let want to evaluate. You want to apply a filter by faculty. So you just select this evaluated by. You just drag it and drop it here. It will filter by that particular faculty name. So you will be able to evaluate. If you have large amount of data, you can use this filtering. And then evaluation summary, again, this is a summary of all the total evaluation. Again, per faculty, you will be able to see for assessment. You will see the entire report. So like I said, several reports are available for online examination also. So this is about online examination. Now, I also have something called workload. Now, what is this workload and how is this helpful? I'm sure as a best practice or as a mandatory feature or as a process, all the colleges will be creating a workload. A session plan is also created and the faculties are asked to create the session plan and before the session actually starts, and the same has to be made available for the students. Now, to manually do this entire thing, sending it to the students either by email or WhatsApp, so this is not very scalable, right? I mean, what if you had a single system where the entire thing can be managed, be it faculty, be it student, if it can be managed together in one single centralized system, I think that will make the job much easier for an institution. Now, as an institution, what you can do, we have given an option here called workload and session plan. You can click on workload session plan. You can click on assign workload. Here in assign workload, all the faculties for your particular institution, it comes here one by one. Let me say, let us choose one faculty and click on new, and I can assign workload to this particular faculty. Allocation, I will choose the program. I will choose the number of lectures, let us say 5 lectures. And she's supposed to take 5 tutorials or rather 6 tutorials. And duration of lecture, I think each lecture is about 60 minutes. I'm going to give 45 just for a change. Duration of tutorial, let us say 60 minutes. Duration lab, let us say it is 120 minutes each lab. Number of labs, let us say 2. Now this is the entire workload she'll be handling. Of course, the number is will be quite high for each of the faculty. I think number of lectures will be 25 to 30, I think. So depending on what your workload is, you can give the number and click on update. Now that means as a admin, once the workload is given to them, this particular faculty, when she logs in, she'll be able to see the the workload that has been assigned to her. Now when I log in as a faculty, when I click on create session plan, I will be able to see the workloads that have been assigned to me. You see here all the workload that has been assigned to me, it is displaying here. I will simply choose my program and I will see the workload assigned to me. Now for this particular workload, I have to create my session plan. So that is why, to make it easier, we have linked the workload and session plan. So, when we are generating a workload a report or a session report, it takes in data from all these places and then a report is generated. Now I will have to give the unit name. This is my session plan. So let us say unit 1, and then topic name I have to give topic name, and then we have also given an option where it is linked to the course outcome and program outcome. We have an option, let me also show that to you later. Once you have configured your course outcome and program outcome, you see here POCO attainment, CO and PO, we have given an option. You can add your program outcome, you can add your course outcome. When you add your program and course outcome, it will automatically appear here in the drop down. You can choose the relevant course outcome, program outcome. So why have we linked our COPO here? Because for each of the courses, for each of the programs, every faculty have to add their data so that the attainment can be calculated. Now, unless you add your data, unless you link it to your session plan, unless you add your internal assessment marks, the attainment cannot be calculated. That is why, to make the job much simpler, we have added the COID, POID here only. So while you're creating your session plan, you can automatically choose the course outcome and program outcome. Now, teaching methodology, this is again very, very important. So if you see in the latest NAAC framework, there has been a lot of stress on, for the faculties to start using ICT for teaching and learning, not to use a traditional method too much, since, again, giving the situation of pandemic, they are expecting the faculties to continue teaching classes. So since everyone is doing it online, we have given several options here to choose from. Have you done it online, or have you used ICT methodologies, that is information communication technology, or was it a group discussion, project work, field work? So field work, project work we have added because there is a separate NAAC question where they are asking about experiential learning. Which of your programs have experiential learning? When they say experiential learning, it means project work, internship, or field visit. So that is why we have given all the options that NAAC is expecting, NAAC or other accreditation agencies, whatever they're expecting. We have added this as a drop down. You choose one of this. I'm choosing ICT for now. And then material link. So I'm just going to update it. So this is unit 1. And then for this unit, even if you have like a video that you've already created, if you want to link a video, you can click on link to online course. So all the videos that you have created for that particular program. So I'm going to choose test unit. Now all the videos that you have created will appear here. So you can just select it, you can link it. So let me, so online course ID, all the videos that you've been uploading in your ID will appear here. I will just choose the video, I will click on update. That means I have linked my session plan also with the online video that is linked to online course. So that option also we have given. So several things that are happening in the LMS, we have tried to link it so that you don't have to generate different reports manually. Everything will come here, provided all the faculties are very strenuously, or rather using it on a daily basis. If you are using all the modules and updating your data daily, so generating this report will be very, very easy. A click of button, your admin or the IQAC coordinator or your principal will be able to generate reports, and there is no stress on faculties to create all this manually as such. So that is what we have given. And we also have an option where add approver. Now once you have created your session plan and your entire thing is created based on your workload, you can also add approver here. Now, this approver is usually configured by your IQAC coordinator or your admin. They can choose who the approver will be. That means whenever a faculty is uploading something, depending on who their approver is, that particular approver will get a message. So here, once your approvers are configured in the drop down here, you will see all the approvers. You can add the approver and click on update. So your approver will be added. So that's about the different options we have here. Now, once the faculties start adding their data as an admin or a principal, you can get something called workload report. Workload report, depending on the program and whatever. See, you see entomology. For Amanpreet Kaur, I have just added data. So course name, you will see tutorials, what is assigned, you will see the report. Session coverage report again. Select the faculty. I am choosing the faculty, and all the things that I have been adding as a report, you will be able to see. So here, I'm not seeing any data because this is a demo account. As and when the faculty start adding their different topics, different teaching methodologies, everything will start coming here. And then course topic again, that means for each of the program, for each of the subjects, whatever that is a course, whatever they have added, you will be able to see the topics that have been added. Or you can choose the topic here. You can choose the topic name. You can choose the semester. And you can just update it. This is the topics that so for the session plan, whatever units you are creating, if you want to add topics, you can add it from here. So that's how your workload and session plans are created. Not only for LMS and e-learning, there are several other things that our software does, for be it accreditation management, be it workflow, be it generating reports for your NIRF or your AQAR, all the data since our software itself is inclined towards accreditation management, we have taken a reverse approach. Usually when you see there is a ERP and you're using an ERP and that's it. But we have built our software solely on accreditation management, which makes sure by default all the different processes or all the different reports are getting generated. It is a accreditation management software that is developed to be an ERP. It is the other way around. So all the reports that you will see in our software basically checks all the boxes, or rather checks all the documents and reports that is required by several accreditation bodies, be it NAC, be it MBA. You can generate several reports here. Again, the data has to be added by the faculties. Now, like I said, not just LMS and e-learning, we have several things. There are like adding your publications, your seminar data, your placement activities. You can generate your meeting minutes. There is mentoring option that is available. So the entire campus management is available in the software as well. It is an open source software. You can download the entire software on GitHub. It is there. You can start using it. So this is completely free. You can explore and see the different options, and you can also reach out to us. My email ID is pooja.vasudev@epathshala.com. We will also make sure that we are sharing it with the institution, your host institution. You will be able to collect our contact details from them. If you have any doubts or if you want to schedule a demo, we are very happy to schedule it for you. We will schedule an online demo given the situation. We can talk to you in detail about different options that are available. Like I said, we are working with more than 150 institutions, pan-India, several institutions who have gone through the accreditation process. They have gotten really good grades, A and above. If you talk about CGPA 3.26 and above also. We have several colleges who are mentor institutions as part of Paramarsh program. So these are some of the things that we as a service we offer. We also have non-financial audit, your academic administrative audits that we do. We have license for the same. So these are several services that we offer. If anyone would like to come and talk to us, feel free to do that. Please collect our contact details from the host institution, and you can reach out to us. So that's about it from my side and Kavya. So we thank you for listening to us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge on LMS using campus technology. Now we will start with the valedictory function within